Also asked Gabriele Marcotti to do the same. We've asked him to pick 5 of the players that are under the most pressure in the upcoming season. And it's also his birthday as we welcome him in. So happy birthday, Gab. Great to have you with us. There he is. Happy birthday, Gab. Have you had a nice day?
A lovely day. Thank you.
Well, we've got a few questions about that.
Spoiled by this.
In extra time. I know, spoiled by this. No, this is the highlight of it. This is his birthday party.
Yeah.
All right, let's get underway then with us putting you to task again, Gab, getting you to give us that list of the players under the most pressure. I think we're starting with number 5. Yes, we are. Who have you gone for number 5 under pressure this season?
Okay, so I have to say I disagreed with many of the guys on Tor's list, like Erling Haaland, but I won't get into that. For number 5, I went with Sadio Mane because, look, he's changing teams, he costs a lot of money, and he's got to pick up the Robert Lewandowski slack. I think it's the correct roll of the dice from Bayern, still a roll of the dice.
All right, we'll keep going through and then we'll get the panel's view. Number 4, you've gone for Jack Grealish.
Grealish, actually, I took the liberty of inserting somebody who's not on Tor's list. But I just think with the departures of Raheem Sterling and Gabriel Jesus, I think this means more minutes and more responsibility for Jack Grealish. Obviously, he cost, what, 100 million a year ago. And not that he didn't, we allow a transition year, fine. But I think this is the year where he needs to kick on if that investment will have been worthwhile.
In at number 3, it's Harry Maguire.
Yes, Harry Maguire. Look, he's got the confidence again of being club captain. It is a transition. The question is he going to remain club captain? Is he going to remain a key part of the Manchester United team that Erik ten Hag wants to build? There's no question that last season was difficult, and I think this season is going to help determine that.
Okay, as we're counting down now to the top. Number 2, Neymar.
Yes, Neymar, with Mbappe sticking around, and obviously Lionel Messi in his second season, Neymar is, sorry to tell you, he's third banana there in that front 3. Obviously, he's got the World Cup, which is enormous for him, but you don't want to live with regret. And I think this is the season where, between the World Cup and what he does with Paris Saint-Germain, especially in the Champions League, this is going to be the year where it's going to help form our opinion of how we're going to evaluate Neymar. Obviously, he'll be a year closer to the end of his contract as well, and that plays into it too.
And drum roll in at number 1, it is Marcus Rashford. Why have you gone for Marcus Rashford?
Well, obviously, it's a contract year for him. That's absolutely huge. He's essentially playing for his future, whether it's going to be at Old Trafford or elsewhere. Last season, he was in and out of the side. Is he a center forward? Is he a winger? What are Erik ten Hag's plans for him? He's got a lot of questions to answer. A lot of things I think are going to become clear. And then, of course, there's the England piece as well with Gareth Southgate too. So I think this is really the biggest season of his career, at least in deciding what the next 4 or 5 years are going to look like for him.
What do you think of Gab's list, Stevie?
There's a lot of different ways of looking at the list. I think the 2 that are under the most pressure for me are Grealish and Maguire. No question, Harry Maguire is under the most pressure of all of them. Grealish the same because of what he hasn't done since he's been to Manchester City. The Mane one, I'm not quite sure, Gab, because he's not a centre forward, so I don't think people are thinking that he's going to go to Bayern and try and score 40 goals a season. I just don't see he's under that much pressure. The Neymar one, I don't really. I mean, Neymar is not, in my brain, he's not talked about or thought about or expected to do anything from a season after he landed at PSG, because, quite frankly, the last, 3 years have been just a complete disaster and a waste of time. And I'm not sure he carries much weight. I just don't see it. And Rashford, I don't think Rashford's under pressure that much at all. I think Rashford is going to feel a little freer.
So you hate the list, basically?
I think Rashford pretty much has been written off by everybody. I don't expect Rashford to do anything for Manchester United. And I think he probably thinks that as well. I don't think there's pressure on Rashford. I think he's in a good spot because I don't think much is expected of him. I certainly don't. So I think he's in a good spot.
So you only like two names that...
I think Grealish and Maguire, 100% are biting their nails before the season starts.
We'll let Gab respond.
Others, I don't really see that.
Gab?
I think with Mane, it's more about what he represents, right? He represents this massive choice that Bayern Munich made, undoubtedly with Nagelsmann's input as well, where he says, give me another winger, we're going to attack in a different way. And, you know, we can put labels on him. Is he a winger? Is he a forward? Is he a center forward? Can he play in different roles? I don't know, but there's no question that I think he's a symbol of that huge decision that Bayern made. On Rashford, he's got a contract. He's going to need a new contract. You know, I don't see how that can't weigh in on your mind when at 18 you're the next big thing, and now a couple years later, it's not entirely clear that you're going to get, you know, the sort of new deal that you want and that you're going to be a part of Manchester United. This is a kid who's Manc through and through. He came through the ranks. He wants to do well. He's received all these accolades, and now there's a new manager. All right, fresh start. If he doesn't produce, if he doesn't produce this season for Manchester United, he may not be. He's not going to be back next year. He may not be offered a chance to be a part of it in the future, and I think that puts a tremendous amount of pressure on this young man. As for Neymar, Stevie from Bristol, Connecticut, maybe people don't talk much about him, but Neymar is absolutely central to Brazil and the World Cup as well, and I think that comes with an absolute ton of pressure from the Seleção.
Let's hear from Neymar's biggest fan, Shaka Hislop, on what he thinks of his name being there.
As far as Neymar goes, I have to say I'm more in Stevie's camp than Gab's, though I accept the point that Gab is making. As far as the list goes, 5th place could have gone to any of 6 players, and it's just a matter of how you look at that. I'm in full agreement with Gab around Rashford, Grealish, and Maguire. Just the order, we could debate. But as far as Neymar goes, I'm with Stevie. I'll be honest, I'm not expecting much other than more of the same from Neymar, particularly for PSG. I get the Brazil thing, but even then, I'm not expecting a whole lot more than we saw 4 years ago. And Gab said, in Gab talking about Neymar, he said this is the season that he shapes our opinions around Neymar, or opinions of his legacy in the game. And I disagree. I think this is the season that he can shatter opinions. I think opinions have been made. Everybody knows exactly what they think about Neymar, and this is an opportunity for him to shatter those, for him to put some of those criticisms to bed. But I'll be honest, I don't anticipate it. I don't anticipate anything more. The successes or failures around PSG, we'll discuss more Mbappe and Messi than it being about Neymar.
Can we get the Gabometer back?
Well, the birthday boy's smiling at what Shaka's saying there.
So the Gabometer, right, Gab?
Go on.
What's the chances if Neymar is rotten again for PSG? What's the chances he doesn't go to the World Cup?
I think the chances are minuscule of Neymar not going to the World Cup.
Exactly, so it doesn't matter how he plays. So he's not under any pressure. If he's rotten,
I'm sorry,
which he's been rotten, then he's still going to the World Cup. So he's got the cigar again. I'm still going.
I think if you look at it in the context of Neymar's career and the fact that this guy was the anointed superstar when he was 18 years old, and the pressure, the importance of delivering a World Cup to Brazil, and the fact that Brazil are among the favorites for the World Cup, all of this generates an enormous amount of pressure, as well as the fact that obviously, you know, he got that new deal at Paris Saint-Germain. I don't believe he's going to get another one. All of these things have got to weigh on your head. And anybody who spent any time in Brazil will tell you that the pressure that Neymar and other Brazil players face is, you know, 100x what some of these other people are on the list. I mean, frankly, while I take the point about pressure on Jack Grealish to perform or whatever, you know what? We saw Jack Grealish is under pressure to perform at the last Euros, and we saw it this time, and he performs, he doesn't perform, whatever. Ultimately, life goes on. I think with Neymar, it's a little bit different just because of the sheer magnitude of Neymar compared to these other names on the list. And incidentally, that's why I didn't put Erling Haaland on the list either. Erling Haaland, to me, is a long play. If he has a difficult season under Pep Guardiola, you know what? He's on the hook. He's got the contract. He'll be back next season. We'll talk about adjustment to the Premier League, adjustment to Pep or whatever. I don't think there's an exorbitant amount of pressure on Erling Haaland related to some other people who are playing either for their legacy or they're playing for their careers right now.
I wanted to come to you on the Premier League players that Gab chose, Grealish, Rashford and Maguire, or is there another name that sticks out for you under the players under the most pressure this coming season?
Not really, no. I think it's a good list that Gab's drawn up there, and happy birthday, Gab, as well. A couple of names I might add to it, I think, would be Lionel Messi. And Gab talked about the World Cup and the pressure on Neymar and how he's got to deliver. Messi still... I mean, Argentina have been on a great run, and there'll be great expectations. Can he do it late in his career? Can he do what Maradona did and deliver a World Cup for Argentina? So maybe Messi is on that list as well, or around it anyway. And I'd add Robert Lewandowski as well, who's going to Barcelona, and, you know, all the problems surrounding them, which have been well documented on this program time and time again. He really has got to fill the role of the torchbearer and be the kind of goal scorer he's been so often for Bayern Munich. So maybe him too as well. I mean, those Premier League players on the list, yes. Grealish, I think first season, I think he struggled to make that transition from him being a main man at Aston Villa to being part of the chorus line at Manchester City. And I think he said himself, he felt he was playing with the shackles on a bit. I think you'll see much more from him this season. The treatment of Maguire, I think, has been just despicable. I hope he has a great season.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.